Welcome to a new episode of Outside the Panels with your host, Johnny the Machine Hughes.
Welcome everyone to another episode of Outside the Panels. I'm your host, Johnny the Machine Hughes, and this time around we are so far outside the panels. There are no panels. Yeah, it's very Matrix-esque even. All right, we're talking storyboards. Storyboards go with film, TV. So, without further ado, let me bring to you a fantastic creator, a filmmaker par excellence, Mr. Miguel Martinez. Miguel, how's it going?
Hi, it's going really well.
Excellent. So you're here to talk about a Kickstarter for a small movie that you're making, right? We can see the
Yes.
title behind us up there. We have to hide the face because it's super scary. So, yeah. So all you youngsters who are watching this, you're going to get scared by monsters. Yeah, go back and find something else to watch. When you're a bit older. But everyone else, stick around. Cool. So Miguel, start us off. What is Lechuza all about?
So, Lechuza is the name of a Kickstarter, but it's taken from Latin American folklore.
Okay.
And it's essentially this witch who was either cursed or cursed herself to basically take revenge on people through the form of herself as an owl. It's like an owl witch woman who wanders the country, and so it's I grew up with this story. I heard it my whole life. My dad used to live in a ranch in Mexico, and so he had all these stories, and his father had all these stories, and it's something I've always heard, but I've never actually seen on film in any capacity.
All right. Okay, cool. So apparently over here in the UK, it's bad luck to see an owl in daylight.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what it is about owls. I mean, Harry Potter's got one, so it can't be all that bad, right? I don't know. So Latin America, so Mexican culture comes into play. For anyone who knows me, they know how much I love Mexico. I've been there 4 times. And most recently, I went to Tulum, and I went and heard the stories about the cenotes and how you're swimming with the land of the dead as you swim through the cenotes. And afterwards, I had to get cleansed by a shaman. Now, I'm not saying how much I believe in this, but knowing my luck, if I didn't get it done, I'd be having a Lechuza sitting behind me, telling me what to do, right? So, cleanse away. That's pretty much where I'm at with that one. So, yeah, I'm absolutely thrilled. Mexican culture, Mayan culture, the whole thing. I'm absolutely so intrigued by it also. Hearing about this idea was fantastic. I'm really quite pleased to talk to you about this. So, story-wise, the idea here is this witch gets called upon, correct, to enact some deadly revenge. And things go a little bit wrong.
Yeah, so there's a lot of different versions of this myth, right? And that's how myths usually work. Some of it is the witch basically teaches. It's about teaching children how to act, and some of it is like children act up and this witch will come get you. But some of it is hey, don't mess with witchcraft because there is this creature that exists that punishes people who abuse witchcraft. And so that's kind of the version I wanted to go with. So that's sort of the story that we have going on right now, where but instead of witchcraft, I wanted to delve into brujeria, and that's more of like a spiritual thing. And so I wanted to delve into someone that tries to abuse that practice. And so the story revolves around these sisters, and after their mother passes away, so it's the night before the funeral, and the story is about not grieving properly, and so one of the sisters tries to go outside of brujeria into like sort of like the perverse version of it and bring their mother back, and that's when the Lechuza targets her and targets the sisters.
Right. So quite a lot going on there. Then you've got obviously the kind of horror element with the witch being the kind of, I suppose, focal point, the kind of the instant ramification of it. But behind the the reason why the witch exists, you've got real human emotion, the inability to probably miss a loved one, right?
Yeah.
It's interesting. So this idea of misusing the spiritual world and magics for your own gain, is this reflective of some experience that you yourself have gone through, where you've kind of had to deal with grief along the way, and you kind of, well, you know?
Yeah. Well, it's an experience of me realizing, oh, I don't think I grieve properly.
Yeah,
And then like what happens is you end up hurting the people around you.
yeah,
And you end up like being this time bomb that can go off. And so like I wanted to represent that like metaphorically, and I wanted to represent that in the different ways and different ways people can deal with it. And I found this to be a really interesting idea. It started off as just like a basically remake of The Craft, and then that's when I realized, oh, this could be more spiritual. It could be more about brujeria. It could be more of the culture.
Yeah. It's interesting you bring up The Craft as a kind of, I suppose, not an inspiration or an influence. When I read the story the first time round, all I could think of was tulpas. We've heard of tulpas.
Yeah.
Loads, the kind of golem-like creations that are created to exact revenge on something, and sooner or later something goes again. There's always something. I tell you what, nothing goes easy, does it? Something always goes wrong. It's bad enough to get your order wrong at Mackie D's, but to create this, it's crazy. Right? So, the idea of a tulpa is very similar. So, you've got, I suppose, these guardians of the supernatural, guardians of witchcraft in lots of different cultures, right? If you think that as a species we've propagated the world, so Mexican culture is based on some Spanish culture with some Mayan culture. Mayan culture is affected by some Mexican culture, which is a Spaniard, and then so on and so forth, right? So there are going to be some overlap kind of things. Were you worried about the kind of overlap from different ideas like tulpas and The Craft?
Sort of, but that's sort of the beauty of it, right? Because these cultures were colonized, and the way that their beliefs survived is they sort of latched onto the colonizer, and they sort of rode the coattails. Like a lot of brujeria is practiced in like North American Catholicism. And there's a lot of parts of it that you don't know where it comes from, but where it comes from is the indigenous people of Latin America. And so there's a lot of these things that that's the only way that they could survive, was to sort of like mix with another culture, and they created like this third thing that is sort of beautiful in its own way.
Yeah. Well, you say beautiful, but I've looked at the trailer now. I tell you what, there wasn't much beauty in that. I tell you one thing, and in fact, I tell you what, we're going to show it right now. Give me 2 seconds to get this on there. See, it always starts with a black screen already. I'm scared. All right, here we go. Are you ready?
Yeah, it's a rip reel. It's a combination of footage that exists, footage that we shot, footage that I had shot in the past, and footage that like public domain footage. So we were essentially trying to get like a tone, trying to get some of the story, and the main actress is doing the voiceover, like our main actress doing the voiceover. So it's pretty cool.
Cool, excellent. Here we go.
I don't have much time. I know I dragged you all over here, and after Mom died, I missed you. All of you. And I want to say I'm sorry for everything I've done. I thought I could get her back. I thought if I wanted it bad enough, I could fix this. I failed. And something is here to punish me. Please help.
wow. I'm like, whoa. Right. So let me be a little bit honest. Horror films aren't my normal forte, right? But my wife absolutely loves them. Right. So I'm watching the Rip Reel earlier today, and I'm like thinking, oh yeah, it's quite jumpy. The monster at the end. I'm like, oh dear God, what's going on? So I thought, I'm always with this sort of stuff. So I showed it to my wife, and my wife was like, wow, that's impressive. So from a horror fan, you have got double thumbs up. All right. So there you
That's
go.
so cool. Thank you.
Yeah. So we talk about the cultures, the different cultures. Recently, I had the fortune or misfortune, depending on your point of view, of sitting through Wakanda Forgotten. I mean, Wakanda Forever, the Black Panther movie. But one of the things amidst the really good start of the movie was a lot of the Mayan culture that Namor brings in. How was it? How cool was it to see that level of detail played out in something so mainstream as a Black Panther movie?
It was really really cool. So for the better part of like last year and the year before, I have a writing partner, and we put together a Mesoamerican comic called Quetzalcoatl,
Okay.
based on the god. And so a lot of the inspiration of that was reading Black Panther, watching Black Panther, and loving it a lot, and wanting like to like take the culture that we knew and like put it together. And so a lot of like that book is based off of and we funded it, and we wrote it, and the first issue's out, and we're working on the other 5 or the other 4. But a big part of it was us doing research. And
Right.
so, and like, especially visual research and knowing where all these pieces come from. And then watching Wakanda Forever, it sort of came full circle. And then we were able to be like, oh, I know where they got that piece of like, piece of, I know exactly what they read to get those like, that costume together. So I thought that was really, really cool.
So that is, I suppose, a level of validity to the aspect of Namor and what he was going through as the snake god. Snake god, is that how it translates? Snake god?
It's the serpent, I guess.
Serpent. Ah.
I don't know if there's a difference, but I think they use the term serpent because serpents can have wings, like feathered serpent.
Feathered serpent. Yeah.
But
that sounds right. That sounds right.
What was I gonna say? Oh, but it was cool. I think it's a lot cooler than making up a fake Atlantis. It feels like more lived in, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, for a whole load of people, you know, this is their culture. You know?
Yeah.
So, I suppose, for a lot of people, seeing the serpent god walk the earth is a big. It's like a wow. You know, it's a representation to the max, isn't it? Someone is in a hurry to get his burger. So I think that's really vital, especially when we talk about, you know, especially in a film like Black Panther, which celebrates diversity, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Right. Enough about Marvel. It
was great. Whoever hasn't seen it, you should watch it.
Well, if you like Mayan history, you should watch it a lot.
Yeah.
If you love Chadwick Boseman, you'll love the first half an hour. After that, well, I'm just going to keep my mouth shut because my mum said if I can't say anything nice, I shouldn't say anything at all. So there you go. Who are these hunky, gorgeous people?
That is our cast. Those are all the sisters.
All right. Okay. Excellent. So, which one's the one that causes all the trouble?
So, Gabby's the one that causes all the trouble. And the rest of them are essentially have to pay for the trouble that she caused. And basically the Lechuza has to go into like what their issue is in the family. Like they all have hidden trauma, hidden issues that cause them to butt heads, and so that is like accentuated.
So there seems to be a lot going on, which is good because you want, amongst all the shocks and the horror, you want to think about stuff, right? how long are you planning the movie to run for? 'Cause I read it's
Yeah,
short, so I'm
yeah.
not, treat me like I'm a complete novice at this. I'm a complete
So,
novice.
so I wrote a feature first. So
All right,
I have there's a feature film version of this exists,
all
and
right, okay, cool.
it's fun and it's cool and it's like 90 minutes. It's like a really tight 90 minutes. But when I got producers on, we were essentially like, oh, we should try to make this into a short because we with a really nice short we can probably raise more money for this since it's a one location thing. It's pretty small, and so I basically took a scene and wanted to use it as a short, but it didn't really work. So we sort of condensed the story into 10 minutes. So we condensed the story into 10 pages. It had to be 10 pages because that is where you're most likely to get picked up by film festivals.
Okay.
Anything over 10 minutes, they're like, oh, why would we get you if we can get like 2 other movies in your place?
Yeah, I suppose that makes sense.
So, so 10 minutes is like the really a sweet spot for this. And so I wrote a 10-page like version of it that's like a little bit summarized, a little bit jumpy, but still kind of fun. And I took the pace of The Evil Dead. And so on the Kickstarter, I say it's Hereditary meets The Evil Dead. So it's like the family drama meets the pace and the scares.
The scares. So, which do you prefer? Do you prefer planning for the scares, or do you prefer planning for the pace of it all?
Well, like I think Evil Dead is probably the most important indie film of all like ever made. I think it changed things more than like Pulp Fiction did. I think it's like
what?
I think it showed people what they could do with what they had, and like how culturally relevant you could be without the help of a studio system. And I think that probably did more for indie filmmaking, specifically like indie horror filmmaking, than anything else. And like
More than the Blair Witch Project.
Yes, because I think for the longest time, people who tried to copy the Blair Witch Project didn't understand why the Blair Witch Project was successful.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I had a lot more fun trying to not recreate, but trying to like take inspiration from why Evil Dead had that pace to it and how you could keep that pace to it. And the energy of it. But it's always really fun to work with family drama and family trauma.
Yeah.
It's always fun to try to okay, like this person feels like they're not in control of their life. What is a very visual and literal way to show that this person isn't in control of their life?
It's interesting because we hear a lot about mental health in the world nowadays, as well it should be. You know, we should celebrate and be aware of mental health. We also hear terms like PTSD, and we never. A lot of people forget that the trauma doesn't have to be physical, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. PTSD is post-traumatic stress. That's something that's caused the trauma, the stress that follows. That's what it's about. So that stress, that trauma, could be being in a car accident, losing a loved one, losing a pet, losing a job, whatever it is that affects that person's sense of who they are and what they mean in the world, can kind of start affecting it, right?
Yeah.
So the actions that the lead character takes in creating or bringing forth the Lechuza, she's not doing it out of spite. She's doing it from a place of love, because she misses people who are no longer there.
Yeah, and it's almost like, oh, I have a responsibility to fix this.
Yeah.
In a certain way.
Well, she caused it. Did you not watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer when she comes back from the dead? Did you not watch that? I thought everybody watched that.
And I thought it was a really interesting place to start, because the film starts with that. The film starts The short film starts with the death of the mother, and then it just goes into the action right away.
Cool. All right. So, which do you prefer? Let me ask you. Which do you prefer? Do you prefer shooting for the film, or do you prefer shooting for the short?
I wanted to shoot the film right away, so I prefer shooting for the film.
Call 20th Century Fox. Let's get going.
I prefer shooting for the film because I like the idea of having longer time to work with the people.
Okay.
Because like all these people are friends, and so they're all like professional actresses, and they're all professional crew members, and everyone like is really great at what they do. But they're also friends, and so I want to work with them as much as possible.
Cool. Right, we're going to take a quick break from one of our other shows whilst we get ready to talk more about Lechuza and get the pants off for me. Thanks. As we're outside the panels, we normally talk about something comic related. We are way outside the panel, so here is the advert for one of our shows that can also be a little bit out there. Here we go. It's K-Pop Cosmo. Have it, K-Pop Cosmos from Marky Mark and Freya, who also stars on the Definitive Crusade. Freya, you promised me when I looked at K-pop I'd see fishnets. I didn't see no fishnets in that advert. I am disappointed. Just saying.
That was cool,
isn't it? Cool. I'm glad Freya absolutely loves the K-pop, so I'm really pleased that is shown there. Right. Before we left for the break, we were talking about the crew. So let's give some credits where credits are due, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, hey. Cool. Was there a sale on the plaid fashion there going on at the same time? I don't know what's up.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Was that like
the pictures? I put them up, and I was like, it wasn't until like the Kickstarter was basically live that I was like, huh. You guys are just wearing the same thing.
Oh, is this something subliminal that we need to be aware of? You know,
I don't know.
Whose shirt is that really?
That's funny.
Don't tell them I said that. They'll kill me. All right, okay. So who's this? We've got Roy Kirk is the cinematographer. Sound designer is Camille Craig and Carlos Garcia. So it's like New York. They named him twice. Cool. What's it like? Have you worked with these guys before? These your go-to guys?
I've worked before with Roy Kirk. We worked in the distribution company together. So he's providing all the equipment. He's really professional. Camille Craig is also a professional sound designer. She comes from a producer. So our producer was like, "Hey, I have the sound designer who loves horror and would really like to work on this." And so we talked to her for a while, and yeah, she really fit the project really well. Carlos Garcia, he's my cousin, and so he moved here, and he's a pretty hard worker, and he wants to get on sets and stuff. And so I was like, okay, you could be our PA, and you just work really hard.
You want. He's your guy. I need a sandwich. Get one. Don't bring me Mackie D's. It's always cold. That's a me thing. I always complain that Mackie D's are always cold. It's just the way of the world. I don't think even the coffee comes cold now. What else have we got? So this
I
is
think
an
there's another
interesting.
crew. There's another
Yeah,
crew thing. Yeah.
you mean this one?
Oh yes.
Right. So you've got script supervisor Gracie Vargas. You've
Mhm.
got the creature design, scary as, and then you've got makeup and SFX for Tatiana. Is that Kozak?
'Cause I think it's two A's.
Ah, Kozak.
Yeah, something like that.
Sorry, Tatiana. I apologize. All right. So
Yeah.
script supervisors. So script supervisors in my head must work like editors a little bit. They're kind of making
Yeah.
sure that there's no continuity glitches and there's kind of
It's a lot of continuity. It's a lot of making sure everyone has the same version of the script and keeping track of the script and everything. So yeah, she's doing that. So there's a really cool story with Eric Zapata for the creature design. Is there is no real visual for La Lechuza, the La Lechuza. If you look it up on Google, it's like a picture of owls and like there's not like a definitive. It's not like the Lady in White or Lionel or something.
Yeah.
Right? So, but if you go on YouTube or something and you look up La Lechuza, whenever people are telling their stories, they're using this image that I could never find. So there was an image that kept popping up and popping up and popping up, and it was like the same picture of La Lechuza. It was like this mask, but it was like color graded differently. So people kept stealing this guy's mask, and I was like, "What is this?" And I like looked it up, and I was like, "It has to come from somewhere." And I found a DeviantArt post. You know what DeviantArt is?
Yeah.
I found a DeviantArt post from like 2014 or 13 or something. And it was this guy who was like, "Hey, this is my final for my college project," and it was the picture that everyone was using, and I was like, "Oh, they're just stealing his picture. Who is this guy?" And I looked it up, and he wasn't on DeviantArt anymore. And I found like a Twitter account that was like 5 years like unused, and I was like, "What is this? What is this?" And then I tracked this guy down, and I realized that he's working on Fear of the Walking Dead.
All right. Wow.
He like studied makeup and creature design, and now he's working on Fear the Walking Dead. And so I was like, okay. So I reached out to him, and I was like, "Hey, so I found you." I stalked the internet.
I can imagine. Yeah, I need you to work on something because I stalked you.
I stalked you. Here's the image of you that I found when you were like when you were working on your college like final. Do you still have this, or do you work on it, or can you make another one? And I sent him like the script, and I sent him like what we had with the Kickstarter because it wasn't up yet. It was like a preview, and he loved it. And he was like, "Yeah, dude, but like I'm working on Fear the Walking Dead right now. I'll be available. Like I can make it, but you have to wait until like April." And I was like, "That's perfect. If we get the money, we'll film in April." So and so I had the choice of like paying him or like buying it first before we even had the money for it, and so I just did it because regardless of if we make it or not, I get to keep this mask. And so the mask that you see behind us, that's his mask. And so I paid him. He essentially just charged me for like materials, I guess, because it's pretty inexpensive. Yeah. And so I was like, something like this is worth a lot of money, and he didn't overcharge me, I guess. So I don't know, maybe some materials, but he's a great dude, and he works really hard. We follow each other on Instagram now, and he's always like posting all this stuff that he's working on. It's insane. Yeah.
I'm going to say though, Fear of the Walking Dead, has there ever been a more pointless series in the world? I have no idea.
I have not seen it, but I have seen like I scrolled through and I saw all of his effects on it, and I was like, "Oh, that looks great."
But we know, it's like we know what's gonna. We know at some point Rick's gonna go into a coma. He's gonna wake up, and the world's gonna have changed. Yeah, I don't really need to know what it was like.
Is that what it is? Is it's like the time between?
It's a prequel to The Walking Dead. So
that's interesting.
Is it? Is it really?
It's something.
I don't know.
I don't know. I've never seen it, But
maybe I'm just being jaded. Maybe I'm just a jaded person. I think probably that's it. To be honest.
well, for some reason, the last couple of weeks, the last 2 weeks, I've gone through all of George Romero's zombie movies.
All right.
I went through all of them, and I thought they were, and even the ones I've never seen, and I thought they were all great. I didn't find a single one that I didn't like, and people really hate the last like 2 or 3, but I saw Diary of the Dead, and I love Diary of the Dead.
There you go. See, there's a what is it? There's a key for every lock. There you go.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at your Kickstarter. I've got the page here. Let me just do a quick refresh just to make sure the numbers haven't changed.
I don't think so. Oh, is that euros?
It was. There it is.
That's
pounds. Cool. It's pounds.
Oh, pounds.
Yeah, so we're sterling over here. So this is $7,927 of a $10,000 goal. In UK money, that's £6,586 for up to 8,309. What impresses me is the number of backers you've got. 106 backers is humongous. You must be chuffed with that.
Yeah.
And you've still got 16 days to go, and you're only, well, you're not even you're just shy of $2,000. That's it.
just shy of $2,000. So yeah. Hopefully everything goes well. But it's been very, very eye-opening, just of seeing, like, trying to get into like the horror community and trying to engage the horror community, trying to engage the film community. We've done this before, but it was comics, and I feel like, and correct me if you think I'm wrong, but I feel like the comic community are way more involved in like indie creators, and they're way more like spread the wealth of like comic indie stuff.
I agree with you. I think independent comic books have gone through an absolute, the sky's the limit for them. You take it back just even 5 years ago, and there probably wasn't half as many indie books as there are now. The fact is, for comic books, you've got an aging readership, and sooner or later, people are going to get bored with the cyclic nature of, oh look, Batman's had his back broken again. Oh no, Superman's dead and returned again. Oh look, Captain America's given up his shield again. We're going to get bored with that, and so people are gravitating towards indie books, where anything can happen. You're not beholden to these mammoth production companies like Warner's or the House of Mouse, who said no matter what you do, you can't kill Spider-Man.
You have to keep the status quo.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Every 5 years, you press the reset button and do it all again. So indie creators can go on Kickstarter, get funded. They can write the story. They can absolutely kill the main character off in the first book. They can do whatever they want, and I think a lot of people enjoy that.
Yeah, I found it a lot easier the first time around. This time around has been a little more difficult, but we still had success, and we still have like a lot of really, really interested people, and like we've found sections of the community that are really willing to like work with us and spread the word and talk to us and talk about us, and it's really, really cool.
I think the problem you've got is Kickstarter is so popular, and I think it's not. Don't take this. It's not just a little guy that does Kickstarter anymore.
Yeah.
So, for example, DC wanted to do a specialist version of their card game. Where do they go? On Kickstarter.
That's ridiculous.
DC Comics does not need to go on Kickstarter. Dynamite want to do a Red Sonja calendar. Where did they go? Kickstarter. I get it. I understand why, because they can then say, right, X amount of people are interested in our product, so we can make exactly X amount, and therefore they cut out the waste and all that, and then not eat into the profits. But it also means that for companies like yourselves who are trying to challenge and do something fresh, you've got a problem, because now you're not just competing with your contemporaries, you're competing with the big studios or the big publishers, which is why you do Kickstarter in the first place. It's just, I don't know. And plus,
it's a lot. And I remember the big one before, like maybe 10 years ago, was Veronica Mars.
Oh yeah.
They did a Kickstarter, and it was like they raised like $4 million.
Yeah, it's crazy. So we'll have a look through your Kickstarter. So you can pledge $10 just because you love the project. Well done. $5, you get a special thanks in the credits. I love those special thanks. My wife and I, we watch the movies and we watch the credits through now, thanks to Marvel and the idea of putting the split cut at the end, right? I sit there in the cinema, I'm thinking, do you think Bob Smith is really waiting in the cinema, waiting to see his name as Gaffer's assistant, Bob Smith?
I would.
I would, yeah. I would. Yeah, definitely. $15 or more get you the Lechuza short, so it's a digital cut. This is an interesting aspect I was going to ask you about. I know a lot of the pledges are about shipping across the world, and I appreciate that. Doing it digitally has to work for you guys, right? From a cost point of view.
Yeah. Yeah, that works. It has to work, and it works well. And then I don't think I talked about it here before, but the digital short, that's the only time that we're gonna, at least like in the near future, that people are going to get it or be able to see it, because it's going to festivals, and then we're gonna try to use it in pitches, but we're not gonna throw it up on YouTube or something.
Okay.
So it's gonna be mostly our backers that get to actually see it.
So it's an exclusive then. Excellent.
Yeah.
That's really good. That's a good thing then. I definitely think the idea of a digital movie works better than digital comics. I'm old school. I like to have a comic book in my hand, But the thing that doesn't narc me, I suppose. The thing that I have to be mindful of when I do Kickstarters is that I'll put my $5 in, and then it'll be like, yeah, but it's another $25 to get it shipped over to the UK. And I'm thinking, I can't afford that. I can't spend $30 on just one book. I'd have to. So if every time there's a digital copy on a Kickstarter, I smile, because it's the quickest, easiest way to get me to pledge. 25 or more gets you a signed. Ooh, excellent. Signed collectible postcard, 4 different variants. Do you get one of each, or do you just get one of any of them?
You get one of any of them. So it's 4 different variants, and you get one of them. And the variants are stills from the film.
Cool. So if you pledge 4 lots of 25, do you get all 4?
Sure. Just reach out to me.
Just
to make sure I don't send you one of one 4 times.
Yeah, I don't want 2 of that one. Thanks. Cheers. So you get a white writer's director Q&A. That's a good call as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? That's a really good call, Miguel. One of the things that drives my wife potty is when I watch the animated cartoons or a movie, and I've seen it like a gazillion million times. So I put the commentary track on. Woof.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that way I can be working on my computer doing stuff, and I'm listening to what they're saying about it. And eventually I do get sucked into it. I'm not going to lie. But she's like, why are you just talking about it? Why can't you just watch it? Because I want to know. Cool. So now you're doing this Q&A with me. Does that mean I have to pledge you $25 automatically? Or $50, no?
Yes.
Harsh.
Back in the day, I remember I used to listen a lot to different commentaries, and there was this one commentary of the movie The Three Ninjas.
All right.
And I remember I would watch it, and the first time I watched it, I was really, really young, and I pressed the wrong button, and it started the commentary, and my dad walked in what are you doing? And I thought it was the movie, and I was like, I don't know, they're just talking. I don't know what's going on. But I watched, I listened to all of it, and then so sometimes I would put on the movie, and I'd be like, Dad, can you change it to the commentary, because this is boring.
I listened to the commentary for the Batman 66 movie.
Oh wow, that sounds great.
And Adam West and Burt Ward just camping it up. Adam West is in full, hi, Bat fans. And you're like, oh my God. Such good fun.
I saw that for the first time earlier this year.
Right, the 66 movie.
Yeah, I love it.
God, the script's so clever. Yeah, the angles of that rectangle are too great to comprehend. It's like, love that film. And some days you just can't get rid of a bomb. It is a true thing. Right, for 150 or more, you get the DVD special features, only available at Kickstarter backers. I'm impressed at this one. You've got 6 backers on that already. I think that's a really good shout. Well done.
The DVD will only be printed once. That's what it says.
Yeah, one time only. And then for 300, you get a Zoom Q&A with some of the cast and crew, as well as like the cast and crew virtual screening and all the previous. That's a huge amount as well. So again, you've got one backer for that. Someone must really love what you do. So that's great. And then for 500 more, you get to be in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we don't have much room for, like, all of the stuff is cast already, but we have room for like VO. We have spaces for VO to go in. Like we have like certain parts where you could be like ancestor speaking. If you want to be kind of creepy, if people like being creepy, we have like a VO part for you. We have 6 of them.
Cool. And of course, loads of people get killed. So if you want to be dead, just ring me up. Yeah. Man, you killed it, literally. All right, excellent. So we saw it earlier. You can check out the Kickstarter. Go to Kickstarter, type all that in. If you don't want to type all that in, just head to Kickstarter and type in Lechuza Film, and you'll get you there. You guys know this by now. Come on. If you want to stay up to date with all the information around Lechuza and Miguel and his work, check out the Instagram. There it is. Yeah. Make sure you spell it right. I had to go 3 times. And of course, you've got the website as well, which will lead you to, amongst other things, the Kickstarter, so you can get involved straight away. Cool. Excellent. Miguel, thank you so much for spending the time. I really do appreciate it. It's been eye-opening, to say the least. This is your last 30-second pitch. So give us your best pitch as to why people should back and pledge Lechuza.
People should back and pledge Lechuza because it is a short horror film revolving around a vengeful witch of Latin American lore that's steeped in family drama and family trauma, but is also really, really fun and scary.
Way to cover all your bets there on that one, I think. Well done. Excellent. Miguel, I really do appreciate it. I know you must be really busy getting everything sorted for the Kickstarter and the projects and stuff. So thank you so much for taking the time for speaking with me.
No problem. Thank you so much for having me.
You're more than welcome. Don't forget to check out the UCPN for all your favorite shows. You saw the advert earlier. If you fancy something a little bit poppy, check out K-Pop Cosmos. And of course, we've already talked about Marvel and DC. So I'd be remiss if you didn't talk about the film of Crusade for all your DC news. And of course, the No Price Podcast for everything that is Marvel, MCU, and the Disney Plus. I'm sure they will be talking about some Mandalorian.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, cool. All right. Miguel, thanks once again. I have been your host, Johnny the Machine Hughes. And as always, adios.
Visit undercovercapes.com for the latest and greatest podcasts via the Undercover Capes Podcast Network. Also visit our parent company website, comiccrusaders.com, all about comic pop culture.